Yeah, I got it. All right.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem. So, hi everyone. I want to introduce myself. I'm Cindy Harley. I teach anatomy and physiology at Metropolitan State University. And I've been using Visible Body Courseware to teach for now, I think 4 years. And I love it. I'm probably the biggest fan of the product out there. It's just really changed how I teach and helped me to have higher student retention and all sorts of other things. But one thing I wanted to do is, I know sometimes it's hard to get up and running and learn how to create your own module, create your own quizzes. And so what I want to show you is how to work with, basically how to work with what you have, so that you can go ahead and make your own courses and quizzes and all of that. So I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm also opening up the chat window. So if you have questions, you can pop them in the chat window, and I'm more than happy to try to answer those. Let me share my screen, and I'll just kind of show you what I got so far. So I have been teaching this course now for a couple years. So what you're seeing here is I've got a lot of different versions of this course. I'm really bad at throwing things away, and that's okay. I think a lot of us are like that. So, one of the things you're probably wanting to do is to figure out how to create a new course. So if you just go up here to this button and you click Create Course, there we go. What's going to happen is your course is going to show up. And what I might say is, I always like to put a year in there because I'm very forgetful. I might say fall 2020, A&P2. And that's the name of my course. You can put in an ID for the course. Mine is Bio 222. But you don't have to. You can even put your school's logo or a cute image in there. And then you just click Create Course. And now you've got this kind of like empty course shell. I want to point out a couple things on this empty course shell. One of the cool things is you can use this course resources folder. It's a really good place to put your syllabus. It's also a good place to put, Visible Body has these correlation guides. It's how they match a textbook to their software. So it'll say, like, if you're going through this module in Visible Body, this is the chapter in Saladin. So it's a good place to put that. I always put the keyboard shortcuts in there. Anything you might think would help the students, but it's a little more general. Let's make an assignment, and then what I really want to focus on is quizzing, because sometimes making quizzes is hard. And if you've used any of the other softwares here, this is where, like McGraw-Hill Connect, or what's the other big one that everyone uses? It's Mastering. If you've used those, you kind of know making quizzes can be really hard. So here I am, and it says you don't have any assignments, please create some. Well, I decided that the module that I wanted to show you guys how to build is urinary, and it's because urinary, I feel like we all probably teach it the same way, right? We all kind of start with these are the big parts of the system, and then we break down the parts of the kidney, and then we break down the nephron into its components, and then we talk about sort of what happens post-urine creation when it goes to the bladder and it evacuates. So I thought that'd be a good one to start with, even though, of course, it's not where your course starts. It's decidedly towards the end in mine. And what I can do, whoops, as I mess this up, just give me a second. Let's go back to our course. So it's this fall 2020 A&P2 right here. What I can do is I can create a new assignment, and it'll say, hey, how do you want to make that assignment? And I might say, I want to choose a couple modules from A&P for the students to go through, or I might want to upload my own thing. For me, I always kind of start the same way. I upload a file, And that file is my guided notes for the unit. You could alternatively, you know, your slides or really whatever you have. So I made us a little folder here that I call urinary unit. And all I have to do is click on where it says upload a file, and I can click on my file and it uploads it in there. And then I can create a folder because I want a folder for each unit. This is going to be a urinary unit, and this will be guided. There we go. And then it always asks you if you're sure you want to publish. I always say, okay, you can save it as a draft if you're not ready for the students to see it yet. That's a pretty, like sometimes when I'm building a module and I'm kind of working at it, I don't want anyone to see it until it's done. So here we go. The guided notes are on there. If you want to see what it looks like to a student, there's this little button up here you can toggle. And now you're seeing what the students see. So it's exactly what it looks like to them. You can set a deadline on it. There we go. So then what you might want to do is you say, well, okay, I want a couple visible body modules. So I'm creating another assignment. Okay. I feel like you can use, and I'll kind of hit on the end about how you can customize something that already exists. But one thing that I think is really easy when you're starting and you're kind of trying to figure out how do I use these 5 apps, start with A&P. And the reason I say start with A&P is it's like the most straightforward for the students. It kind of walks them through the text and it's a little easier to understand. I think it's probably the most similar to anything you've used before, and then you can always add more stuff. So you could pick any of the other apps if you want to, and later what we'll be doing is adding a quiz that's through this graded quiz bank. Here we go. So now I can search for content. In my anatomy and physiology units, I'm doing urinary, right? So I might say, what's this urinary system overview? And I can click on preview. It will show me what that is. The overview is for all the units, or just like a short little video. It kind of orients the student to what's going on. And then because of the way we teach urinary, we always start with basic anatomy, right? Kidney, ureter, bladder, So this would work in the female urinary model. Anytime you want to see a model, just click preview and it's going to show you the module. The nice thing about A&P, I'm a big iPad fan. Anybody that knows me knows that. I always have A&P on my iPad, and I'll go through these on the iPad. It's a little faster than going through them on Courseware. So when you're creating a course, that's sort of like my quick time-saving hint is just know what you want to put on there, and you can click your modules and go through. And then I might want something like position of the kidney and kidney anatomy. If we look at this one, this kidney anatomy, this is like the pyramids and the calyces. And so maybe I want to go that detailed. I'm not nephron yet, but I'm trying to get them to that nephron. And it always takes a while to do this, especially when I'm doing Zoom. So I'm going to close that out. Once you've picked your they call them assets. So like the little things you want people to do or see, then you just go ahead and you click continue. One thing I recommend is, because your students probably aren't used to this sort of thing, and because the way that you pick things from different apps, you might have to have them look at a bunch of things, I number them. And so I might say 1 basic urinary anatomy. You can set a release date if you don't want them to see it till a certain time, or you want to set a due date, you can set a due date. And it's literally like any calendar you've ever used. You're looking for airline tickets or whatever, it's just like that. Put it in your same folder. And then I can write, I always write them a little note like, make sure you find the following structures. And then we can write in, you know, kidney, ureter, bladder, whatever. Sometimes I just put learning objectives in here. so that they kind of know what's expected of them. I don't know how much the students read those, I'll be honest, but honestly, it's something that helps me know what I'm gonna do. And then, you know, I usually write a better unit. You can click this send email notification, then it's gonna email all the students that are enrolled in the course that you put something up. So that's really useful too. All right, click publish. And again, it's, are you sure? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I click OK. And this is what it looks like. And what the student is going to do when they're going through this unit is they're going to go through each of these little modules. Okay, since I chose from A&P, it's going to look exactly like these do in the A&P app when they're in courseware. So that's just a really easy thing to do. If you edit it, you can send an email notification and just let people know you edited it. Now, you'll notice that my little stuff that I put in is below my notes. I want the notes to be top. So you can just click and drag, put them where you want them to be. And now people can go through that. So one thing you might want to do, and this is something I certainly do often, is you might want to link to some outside resource. Maybe there's some sort of YouTube video or something about kidneys that you think is super cool. All you have to do is create a new assignment and you can link to a URL, or you could upload a file if you happen to have a file. And the URL link is really easy. We can just kind of continue here and you can put, you know, video about kidneys and you can link to whatever the URL is. For me, I have like a YouTube channel where I do the videos, so it's still my content. You could do that, or if your university uses another video host service, you could link to your own videos. It works just like any other assignment. All right, so what I like to do in my modules is I like to have very frequent quizzes. And the reason that I like to have frequent quizzes is, as you all probably know, the more frequent that you have some sort of quiz, it's that little check-in for the student. The nice thing right now about doing frequent quizzes is that you can kind of keep an eye on everybody and make sure that they're keeping up, and you know, if they're not, reach out. So let's say we want to add a quiz about that basic urinary anatomy, right? If we click on this graded quiz bank and click continue, it's going to take us into that quiz bank. Now you can say what question type you want, or say, okay, I want urinary system. I know I want urinary system, right? And then what it'll do is it'll pare it down. So now you're just looking at the urinary questions. Right now I'm looking at quizzes that already exist. And the cool thing is over here on the right side, what you should be seeing is previews of these questions. And I can say, well, okay, this is a little bit, like I'm more focused on the kidney right now. This is a little bit lower in the genitalia. That's not where I want to be yet. So then what I can do is kind of look at these different quizzes and pick one that meets my needs, my needs, excuse me. So some of these quizzes, you'll notice this one here, multiple choice. Great, right? And we can assign that. This particular multiple choice, see this little P here? That P in the brackets, that means it's a pool. And a pool, in this case, we've got 32 quiz questions, and it's going to pick 7. Now, that's a really nice thing to do if you're afraid of, you know, students communicating with each other, or if you let them take the quiz multiple times. You can do a pool, so it's not the same exact thing every time. To assign this multiple choice quiz, I click the little checkbox and click continue. And then I can name the quiz, and I can have whatever you feel like naming it. I had a bunch that I called knowledge checks, and I just did, they were like little 3 to 4 question quizzes. I can set a due date. I can say, okay, this is going to be due on Thursday at, and just type it in, 1 p.m. And maybe that's right before my class or whatever. You can delay the release. So let's say you only want them to have an hour to take this quiz. Now, if I click yes to delay the release, I can make it so that the quiz is only available at noon. So they have between noon and 1 to take it. All right. And then you can put in a point value for your quiz. Maybe you want your quizzes worth a lot. I tend to do quizzes as very low stakes. So I might just say 2 points. And the wonderful thing about the software is it'll figure out when the students take the quiz, it'll give me the value out of 2 points. You can also do percentage. And you could have the students do unlimited attempts. You can take the quiz until you feel you've done the best you can. So if you do multiple attempts, you can take only their first attempt, which means that they can still use it in practice, but it's not going to improve their grade. That's a really great option. You can take an average of their attempts. So if they take it 5 times, it's the average of those 5. You can use their best attempt, or you can use their last attempt and take their grade from that one. You could also say, I want them to be able to do it 3 times, and after 3 times, you don't get to do it anymore. You can add in a time limit. And so let's say I'm going to give them 15 minutes to take this quiz. You can do that. And if you're worried about accommodations, and this is always the question, right, is, well, what if I have a student that gets time and a half? You can actually set that in that student's, within your grade book. You can set it so that it gives that student time and a half regardless of what you assign. So there's a question coming in. It says, let's say in a question pool, there are 35 questions that can be randomized for each student. Yeah, so that's what happens with the pool. It's 35 questions. The software randomly draws 7, and that 7 can be different for each student and each time that the student takes it. So it's just a way of mixing it. And I will show you how to remove questions. We'll work on how to adjust quizzes in just a minute. You can set your feedback here. So you can say, after each question, I want it to tell you what the real answer is, or you only learn what the real answers are at the end. And you can sort of pick when you want it to let them know how they did. Maybe you don't want it to, don't show correct answers. You don't want them to know how they did. That's what I do when I'm putting a test in Visible Body. I don't have it show them correct answers because I don't want them to have that that quickly. I want to be able to try to keep things independent. And then you can add a little description and publish your quiz. All right. And if we go back to our little module here, here's the quiz. So they'll be able to take it right there. Usually I give my guys like a checklist and I'll say, okay, you want to do urinary parts 1 and 2 and then take the quiz, so that they kind of know when it falls. So let's tackle this question about how do I modify this giant quiz pool if that's not what I want to use. One thing you can do, and you can click on your quiz bank, and let's say we're going to go to urinary. Don't ask me why I picked urinary. I just thought it was a really straightforward unit. Apparently I have a lot of draft quizzes. This happens to me. But here is this 32 question quiz. That's big, right? And then you say, I don't want to use 32. If you click this button that says clone, what it's going to do is make a copy of that quiz. So, and you can name this whatever you want. I'm going to leave the name and then just write shorter in there. Name it whatever you like. And then what you can do is click this edit button. And at that edit button, you can delete questions that you don't want. So let's say we preview this question and we're like, okay, that's a pretty lame question. It's, about peristalsis. I'm not talking about that in that way this year. I just click little trash can and that question goes away. Maybe I don't want them, I don't get all the way to the nephrons, so I don't want them to do a nephron question. Just click the trash can, it's gone. So you can adjust that. And then for your pool, let's say you want them to do 15 questions. We can go ahead and put in 15 out of 30, or how many ever questions we want them to do. Okay. You can have it randomize the question order. You can have it not randomize the question order, right? That's just this little toggle here. One thing I'm going to recommend is always adding in keywords. This was something when I started doing this and making my own quizzes, and I'll get back to keywords a little bit more in a bit, but this was something I didn't do. The reason you want to add keywords is that you're going to write a buttload of quizzes, and this is going to help you find those quizzes. So always put in something. I could write urinary anatomy, maybe put in a names, fall 2020, unit end quiz so that I know it's a unit end. Whatever it happens to be to help you to categorize that so you find it later. It's sort of like if you're familiar with tagging on social media, it's like tagging on social media. Basically, you are indicating some little search parameters for that quiz. All right. So here we go. Get rid of a couple more of these just for funsies. You can also add more questions. Sometimes you look at a quiz and you're like, why didn't I ask that? I can't believe I didn't ask that. Well, click on add more questions, and that's going to take you right here into the quiz bank. This visible body quiz bank, this is going to include their questions that they've written. It's also going to include the questions that you've written over time. So you can kind of see those here. There's visible body, Atlas, there's me, Lori Fisher here, that's my co-instructor. And so she and I share quiz pools too, which is great. So I got a bunch of her quizzes. Same thing with Ariel, she's another co-instructor. So I get to share quizzes with her. And that's a really cool thing. So we can go back to urinary and we can say, you know, okay, I really want them to have a question about the calyx. And I can't believe that I didn't ask anything about the calyx. And I type it in and I don't find anything. Okay, that's a real thing, right? I'm gonna try, that's why you always test your search parameters first, right? Let's try renal pelvis. So it finds renal pelvis and I say, okay, I really want there to be a renal pelvis question. I like this one. So I'm going to click on it and click save and next, and then it adds me. Oh, do you have control who you share your quizzes with? If you share your course, you share your quizzes. But I actually like that because then it just increases my quiz bank. All right, so let's say that you're looking for a question on the renal calyx and there isn't one. Oops, and it really helps if you can spell. Can you edit an existing question? Yeah, I'll show you that in just a minute. So I can say, okay, well, I don't find my question. I still want to add more. One thing I can do is I can write questions and add them in. Okay, so if we go to, if I were to click question bank right now, this quiz is going to be saved as a draft. Once it's a draft, I can still edit it. So I'm going to click on the question bank, and let's say we want to do something about the renal medulla. Just type in something. And we have to keep the questions the same. This is something they're working on right now, but right now, if it's a multiple choice quiz, we got to stay with multiple choice. I'll show you dissection quizzes in a minute, okay? So let's say you like this question, but you're like, it's not my favorite. You can clone the question just like we cloned a quiz. And once you clone a question, you can edit it. So maybe I can say, you know, my students always have a problem with these except questions. They never see the except. So I'm like, I want to make that bold so that they see it. And maybe I want to make the text red so that they see it. I can do that, or I can type in whatever question that I want. And then whenever you're done editing it, you can click Save Question. You can also save in preview if you want to look at what it's going to look like to the student. And then you can add the question to that quiz. You just select the quiz you want to add it to and click Continue, and then it adds it. So that's how you edit an existing question. For question types, I've got a question about case study questions, and I'll show you what I would do for a case study question. That's a really good one. So let's say we want to create a new quiz, and we want to create one that does case study questions. Well, case study questions, the easiest thing to do is to, like, I would say for me, for a case study, I'd really want to do a short answer, right? So I might say, here, create a new quiz. And it says choose from the drop down. I can choose multiple choice, short answer, or dissection. Let's choose short answer. And you might find a question that you can use in here if you search for it. But if you don't, click on create a new question, okay? And then once you get to this create a new question, you can say, I want to make a short answer question. I want to make it about this case study, right? And you'll say, from what you read in the case study, whatever it happens to be, right? How does mainlining Red Bull and vodka impact the urinary system? I don't know. I haven't looked at a urinary case study in a while, so this is like a random one that's you know, I don't know, maybe relevant to COVID. So you can ask that. You could put in an image if you have an image from the case study. So let's take a second here. And I did not put an image in my little folder. I'm going to show you what I do for images. You guys are going to laugh. All right. Again, I'm an iPad user. So let's pretend that I want an image and I want to take it from visible body. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you guys my iPad screen. So here you're in Human Anatomy Atlas. This is the virtual cadaver. All right. Now let's say I want the question to have this really cool image of the kidney, its little cross section, it's got a little nephron action in there. Maybe I want to even highlight the glomerular capsule, and I want to keep that image. I literally take a screenshot with my iPad. So you're looking at my iPad right now. I'm taking that screenshot, and then what I'll do is I'll send myself the screenshot. I do this through what do they call AirPlay? It's if you're all Mac, you can just straight up share everything. It's great. If you're not, that's okay. I'm not going to show you how I do that, because if I do, you're going to see how many pictures of my cat that my son takes with the iPad, and that's okay. So then what I can do, once I have this, and you could do this with your computer screenshot as well. I just feel like with the iPad, I don't know why, I'm just more comfortable. So I go ahead and I click on that picture, and I'm going to send it to myself. And of course, my computer isn't going to see me. That's okay. Computer didn't see me, because of course it's not going to see me. Let's say I'm just going to do a random screenshot of the screen here. Maybe you want to like screenshot your case study. So I just took a little screenshot, and then what I can do is I can browse for an image on my desktop. In this case, I'll have that image of the screenshot. Of course, nothing's working right now. That's okay. Sometimes life is like that. Oh, here you go. Here's my screenshot. I open that screenshot, and then it's in there so that when the student sees the question, that's the image that's going to show. So you're not like stuck with some canned image. You can pick literally whatever you want. If you want it to be a goofy GIF, you can have it be a goofy GIF. And I do that kind of stuff just because I feel like humor helps students. And then you assign it a topic. This again is to help you find it later. So you say, okay, this is a urinary quiz. It's going to be uncategorized. You can pick a Bloom's level. Since it's a case study, I'm guessing you'd be at that application level. So applying or analyzing, that doesn't have to be exact, right? It's just sort of like a general thing. And then you can say, all right, case study, urinary, Red Bull, whatever you want to put in there. Bad pick, I don't know. And then you can save and preview. So it's processing my image right now, but that's the image that the students are going to see. It's just the rando screenshot I took because my computer was not cooperating. But this is what it would look like. And then the student can enter their response. They can put a lot in these things. I did one where I had the students just write how much they could write. And I think it's like half a page of text. You can find it on the Visible Body website. I believe it's like 500 words. So they can really get into it. Then when you're happy with how your question looks, my image is still processing. I guess it was complicated. You save the question and then we can make a new question if you want to. And so you can kind of keep going through this, making new questions anytime you want. That's how I would do a case study question. You could do a multiple choice case study question. It just depends on your preference. There isn't a case study question bank, but let's show you how easy it is to make questions. If we want to make a multiple choice question, we click continue and we literally just write in the prompt. So it can be, I don't know why I'm on Red Bull and vodka today. We'll just leave it there. It's just that kind of day. So Susie chugged 4 Red Bull. I actually do use that one because it's alcohol and caffeine, so you kind of get both effects. But Red Bull with vodka 2 hours ago. I don't know. Let's go last night. What is going on with her system today? And you could, put in a GIF of drunken Susie. I don't know. But then you can write down, let's see, she is dehydrated from the caffeine and alcohol. And notice how it does spell check. This is fantastic because I don't know about you guys, but when I'm typing fast, I'm a terrible speller. Bam. And then we can say she is hyperhydrated. She has lost salt, but not water. She is feeling great and living her best life, YOLO. And you could add in a fourth one if you wanted, you don't have to. And then again, we just assign it a topic. We say urinary. We say, let's see, this is sort of like a urine production question. And you can give it more than one too. I can say like it's urine production and storage and elimination. It's applying because it's a case study, and I can say case study, multiple choice, test, urinary, YOLO, whatever I want to put on there. And then you save the question, or you can save and preview it, look at it, what it would look like to your student. So that's another way to do it. I'm going to show you my favorite quiz type. Really quick, so now when I look at my question bank, this question's in the question bank. Let's say I don't like it. Since I'm the one who wrote it, I can edit it and I can change it. And you know how it is. You're going fast, you get stuff wrong, and then you have to change it. Now you can 100% do that. This is what this question looks like right now. the order A, B, C, D is going to be randomized for the students. So that's actually a really good thing. So they can't just say, hey, the answer is A to their friends. It's not going to work that way. So let's look at the last quiz type, and it's the one we haven't talked about, but I think it's the most useful and the most kind of cool and unique to visible body. To do that, we can go to the quiz bank, and the question type is the dissection question. Now, these questions are super neat because what they do is they have the student click on the structure, okay? So I tend to do these for labeling. This is actually from my 2020 spring final exam. They have to click on it. Oh, you could, someone asked, can you do an all of the above option? Yeah, you can write in whatever you like. It works really well. So here's a kidney dissection quiz, and it's got all these different things for them to click on. This will be the 3D models. This is the visible body model, and sometimes they have to dissect down to get to stuff. So this is where I feel like it's a little bit more of a real situation. It's not just find this thing that's coincidentally in the image. It's you have to look at the image, dissect down if you need to, and find the thing I want you to find. So maybe you think this quiz is the bee's knees and you want to assign it. Well, then that's all you have to do is you just assign that quiz. Right now I'm in the bank for the quizzes, so I'm not in a place to assign it, but you can go to your course and select an assignment and find the dissection quiz kidneys. I'll walk you through that real quick. We'll do this. So I go to my courses and I find this fall 2020. And I say, okay, now I really want that kidneys dissection quiz. That was thebomb.com. So I go to the quiz bank, and then I search for kidneys, and it's going to pull up a lot of stuff. But then what I can do is put in dissection, and now it's going to get down to that dissection quiz. And if there was more than one option, I could even go further than that. Click on it. If you want to change it, this is where you can clone it and edit it. I do that all the time. I don't think I ever reuse a quiz. I'm always making my new stuff, and so I get everything gets really clogged. Then we assign it. So this is what the student-facing name. So I may call it kidney, but then the thing that faces the student will be whatever I write here. So I could say kidney dissection. And it works just like the other quiz that we did. And I just got a question about, hey, can we make a dissection question from scratch? I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Okay. So now we're publishing this. This is the pre-existing dissecting question. So one of the things I love to do, and apparently I put an extra Z in quiz. One of the things that, and you can click on this, by the way, and edit it and fix your spelling. That's always important to me. I like things to be editable. So let's make our own dissection quiz. I love doing this, and one of my favorite question types is click on the structure that does this thing, right? Because that's really hard to Google. And right now, I think all of us are kind of looking for ways to keep students from cheating. So I think what I'm going to do is go to this question bank, and I'm just going to make a bunch of questions. Okay. So we click on create a new question, and it'll say, what type do you want to create? Well, we've already done multiple choice and short answer. So let's do dissection. We click on dissection. And you can say, click or select the structure responsible for good question. Responsible for moving, oh no, that's not a good one. Filtering the blood. I'm going like a really broad kidney question. Then you go to the library of 3D views. You can filter these by topic. There we go. And there are a bunch of different views you can use. Let's say that you really want them to be able, I don't think we have enough run in there yet. That's coming. They're going to be putting in the microanatomy views, and it's like, it's coming very, very, very soon. It's there for a couple of them. But then we could say, okay, I want some view that's got the kidney in it. And you can pick which view you want. So maybe I want to give them this male view, and they're going to look at that, and I want them just to select the kidney. We click continue, and now that question is made. Now, or not made yet, sorry. Then what we could say is, what are the correct answers? Anything I click here is going to be a correct answer. So I want both kidneys, so I'm gonna have to click on left and right. Oh, and I'll show the library again, yes. I've got to click on both left and right in order to get the entire kidney. Then just your drop-down menus to assign topic to it. This is urine production, and then Bloom's level. This is pretty much like remembering, right? They're just regurgitating back to you, maybe a little bit of understanding because they have to know what it does. And then you can say, you know, kidney, whatever you want to put in here as your tags. And we can save and preview or save. This is what the question is going to look like, but it is going to be that 3D model that they can orient to. We can save the question, and let's make a new one. So one thing you can do is we can even pick smaller parts of structures. So we could say, click on the part of the urinary system where you'd find a salt gradient. Kind of getting at that renal medulla, right? And that salt gradient into the renal medulla, because we love teaching that, don't we? So we go here, and I go to urinary, and I say, okay, I don't want them to have this view of the kidney because that's like too easy. I want them to have to really pick it and know that it's not the bladder. So what I can do is I can pick, again, this male view that I used before, click continue, and I can say I want them to click on a renal pyramid. Notice when I type pyramid in, then pyramids pop up here. So now I can click pyramid, and these renal pyramids here, those are the right answers to the question. So if they click on renal pyramids, doesn't matter if they're on the left kidney or the right kidney, they're going to have that. And the cool thing about this question is they have to cut the kidney in half digitally to get to those pyramids. So that's kind of a neat one. So there is a question coming through that's relevant to this. It's, can you start with the whole body and then hide or remove structures to select it? You can't quite do the whole body, but you can do larger chunks. And I 100% recommend that. They're even adding some more functionality to that. And you would do it much like this. I've done it with the brain, where I'll type in a specific thing in the brain and I'll want them to find that. So it's pretty neat. And I think that the more intact of a structure you give the student, the more real that answer that they give you. Coming up in October, they'll also have a tour function where you could have the student like show you dissection, like a step-by-step of their dissection, which would be really cool. Oh, I can of course show you what it looked like in a student preview. So let's, and then someone asked me to show the quiz bank too. So we'll get to a couple of these things real quick. All right, there we go. So now we save this question. And what we can do is we can kind of, there we go. This is the what do I want to call it? This is sort of like the pared down view of what you would see. And this, by the way, this is the question bank. So if I click question bank here on the left, I get there. And I can sort my questions. I can sort them by who wrote them. I can sort them by the type. Is it dissection? Is it multiple choice? Is it short answer? I can sort it by topic. So these are your typical units. I can sort it by, once you pick a topic, you can pick a subtopic. I can even go by Bloom's level. Maybe I want them to do an application level question. Okay, so what we can do is we can create a quiz using these questions. And then we can look at what that quiz would look like. So let's create a new quiz here. All right, and it's a dissection. And I'm just gonna kind of pick a couple of these and click continue. And this is gonna be a test McTest. So we're just gonna go down really quick and always tag. If I can tell you anything, always tag. So if we click preview here, what it's going to show us is this pared down view. That's not what it's actually going to show the student. I mean, it is, but it isn't. So if we click assign this quiz, now I can pick my course that I want to assign the quiz to. And I know I'm coming at you, whoops, I don't want spring, I want fall. I know I'm coming at you with a lot of information really fast. We're recording this, so you're good, okay? Now I click the quiz that I want to assign, because you might want to assign another one at this point. Maybe you want like a couple quizzes in this set that they're going to do. We click continue, name it, and then kind of put it into our system. So, oh, what did I do wrong? Oh, always. There we go. While I'm pulling this up, so when I click on this quiz, it's going to pull it up like what the student actually sees when they take the quiz. One of the questions I've just gotten is, does Metro use separate learning management system? So yes, we use D2L. And I do not have my visible body integrated with D2L, so I use Courseware and then I export the grades. You can export them as, it's a CSV, so export them as a Excel file and just upload them in, or I tend to do it manually because I never trust the downloading and uploading. I'm very old school. But I don't find that it's that difficult, and I have a lot of quizzes, so I do this a lot. They do have Canvas integration. I think Blackboard integration's either there or it's on the way. I've never had it integrated, so I don't even know what that looks like. Okay, so the students, oh, sorry.
And we just released the Canvas single sign-on, and then Blackboard is kind of behind that. It's not there yet, but we are working on some of those deeper integrations, and we do get feedback from a lot of instructors that use that CSV file that it's very easy and pretty quick.
It's like really a non-issue. I haven't had a problem with it. Okay, so now we go to take the quiz. And this is what the student is going to see. And notice they can rotate this model around. And it says, select the structure responsible for filtering blood. Let's say I'm a student and I get it wrong. What does that look like? So maybe, oh, here, maybe they hide part of the kidney. So I just hid part of the kidney. Now we can see into the kidney. Let's say I click the renal pelvis, and I'm just going to say that that's proper. When I click submit, because this particular quiz did not give them feedback, they don't see it. If you did choose to give them feedback after every question, it would be like, hey, that's not right. You should try again. Click on any part of the kidney where you'd find a salt gradient. We know here I have to, whoops, I'm woefully terrible at doing this on a computer. I have to click hide to get to those, that renal medulla, those pyramids. When I click on the pyramids, now I submit it. And then as a student, oh, that's a little interesting. This is where I realize I wrote my question wrong. But it'll tell you what you have correct. If you click see details as an instructor, now I can see, oh, whoops, it says the renal pelvis is involved in filtration. That's not exactly right. And now I can go back and edit that question and make it so that that's not one of the correct structures. And that's all well and good. And the nice thing is once you get those questions edited, you know, in your bank, they're always good. Okay, so that's what a student view looks like. I really like that they can dissect down. So if you want to see a greater version of one of those, I'm trying to think of one that I have that I could find really easy. Let's just make one. Okay, so we're going to go through this one more time. So Pam, do you see this question about ADA?
I do see the question.
All right, can you answer that one?
I don't know. I mean, the blue color, I don't really know the answer to that question. I mean, we, you know, think about the ADA compliance, we work on that. My guess is, and I don't know this because I'm not experienced, but we did have a call recently with an instructor that was visually impaired. And she said that she had a bigger monitor, and so she could tell when things were highlighted differently. So my guess is it would highlight it a different, they would see that it's a different highlight. It just might not look blue to them, but I can dig deeper into that for you. I'm just kind of pulling that out of my hat. It's not like a proven answer, but I can kind of dig into that and let you guys know.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, having taught with this for a couple years, I found that I haven't had any visually impaired students, but I've had a lot of like varying degrees of learning disability and like, that's not the nice way to put it, but like different needs that students have had. And I've actually found that this has helped the majority. So it's been pretty great. Oh, blue is indistinguishable from the rest of the colors. Oh, that's an interesting one. So one idea that you could do is you can actually use Atlas and draw. And if you use Atlas and you draw, you can choose the color you draw in, and that would give you something that they could see. Yeah, so you could draw in arrows. You can't do it in the quizzing. You'd have to just do it and take a still image, but it would work. And it's, to be honest, really nice for exams to just be able to make whatever view you need rather than searching for it on the internet like we do. All right, so what I'm doing right here is I'm trying to just get really far down to something they'd really have to dissect down to. So maybe the amygdala. Let's just pick that. There we go. And then, you know, and I like that you can write your own too, because you could be like, now we're in amygdala, like I could do like select the structure that, you know, is responsible for like fear and anxiety or whatever. And then that's a little bit more application level. And it's really easy for me to do, right? And I can have two different versions. One's that's sort of the low level, one that's the application level. All right, so I'm gonna save this. And, oh, and okay, and now we're gonna assign this question so we can look at it really quick. I clicked add question to quiz, and that was the only one I'm putting on there. You know, you always have to add these, and it does seem a little tedious at first, but trust me, once you got all this stuff tagged, it is so much easier. It just helps you find things. So I highly recommend it, even if you get a little annoyed with it. It's 100% worth it. There we go. You can delete courses too. You don't have to be like me and hold on to everything. I'm terrible. All right. So here we go, amygdala test. We're going to assign that. So I click the little box next to it, click continue. And then I'm going to put this outside of a folder. I'll find it real quick. All right. So let's go here and look at what this amygdala quiz looks like. So now they have to find the amygdala. All right. In order to do this, what they're going to have to do is dissect down to it. So it's a little bit harder of a task. At the same time, I think that that's something where once they do it, they're going to know it. Right. And you can see how long your students are taking on their quizzes. So I tend to give like really large amounts of time, and I always want to see, are they spending all the time? Or are they spending 5 minutes? Or, you know, who's spending all the time? When you look at your grade book, it'll tell you how much time they spent and what they answered. So here they're supposed to dissect down to the amygdala. So I've got a huge, I've got a lot of brain here. And what I can do is I can start hiding structures and getting rid of them. And as I'm hiding structures and getting rid of them, I can go deeper and deeper into the brain. And there we go. And we can get rid of this, just keep going. So we can select a structure and then just submit that. And it says, nope, you're not correct there. And so that's kind of how you can see where you can have them dissect down a little bit. It's just about what views you pick, which is really quite helpful. Okay, so one of the last things I wanted to show, I'm going to show you two quick things. One of those is how to share your course, because you may want to share with a colleague. I like sharing. It's just a thing. So I'm not in the courses. There we go. If I go out to my courses and I'm like, you know, that fall 2020, that's a really good one. I go over here, I can make a copy of the course. So maybe you just want to make a copy and edit it. I do that sometimes. And I'll show you how to do that. Or you can send a copy. When you click send a copy, it gives you this link. It will not send your grade book, but what it will send is all of the links and all the materials that you put in there, so that I'm in a position where we have a bunch of us teaching A&P. One of the first things you get if you're a new A&P instructor is I give you my course. And that way I know you have something. I'm a big fan of doing that. You, of course, don't have to, but I feel like I always tell people, I say, if I share with you, then you have to share with me all the improvements you make. So the first time I made a course in visible body, it was really, 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 really dense. This happens, right? When we're new instructors, we always do like super dense courses. So let's make a copy of this one. This is an old course that I made. You can even adjust the deadline. So let's say it was a spring course and I want to make it a fall course. Well, my fall semester starts, I don't know, we'll say August 31st. And I can set it so that now it'll change all those due dates, and then you probably will still have to adjust some, but it's not as many, which is nice. This one's going to show up in here as a copy, and it's creating the copy right now. It's going to take it a little bit of time. I don't want you guys to wait all that time because I know that you're busy. Okay, so what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to click on oh, whoops, nope. Click on this 2018 one. And in 2018, I was a pretty new instructor, and you can see all the stuff the students have to do. It's a lot of stuff. So if I made a copy of this for this year, what I could do is you can literally click on any module, you can edit it. By editing it, you can change the text, or you can click this edit assignment content. That changes what is in that assignment. So maybe I don't want them to look at the same things. And it's yelling at me. It's like, Cindy, you haven't assigned this in a while. Here, let's just go there. Oh, I still did it. I'm back in 2019, apparently. Do you blame me? All right, here we go. So now it's set for a date in the future. I click edit assignment content. And what I can do is I can edit what's in there. So maybe the stuff that's in there is not what I want. Right now I've got this neuron histology, I've got neuron function, I've got resting and action potentials. I might want to add neurons. So then I can click here. I can even click the preview button and I can preview it. So you can do this. You can delete whole chunks of the course. So let's say I click continue. Now it's going to update. I could go back and I could delete a chunk of this course. Now, right now it doesn't want me to do it because it's a course that's set in the past, and it doesn't want me to erase the past, rightfully so. But here's this one that we just made, our brand new copy. And let's say that this year, special senses got covered by the fall instructor. I never managed to cover it once in my first semester. I always push it to the second. And you want to delete it? You just go up here, click delete. And you can delete the folder and all of its assignments. You can delete it and keep the assignments. I say just delete it. And then it's going to be gone. And now those students will not have to do that assignment. And so then they'll start their semester with endocrine. Let's say you don't want to delete a whole folder. Well, if you don't want to delete a whole folder, then what you could do is you could click one of these modules. You could edit the content or click delete, and that'll get rid of that module. So it's very easy. And the reason I'm telling you this is that you're probably going to be downloading a sample course that's already been created that goes with your textbook. Or if you're like me, you don't use a textbook, you'll download that sample course. And then you're going to want to edit it because you don't want to deal with someone else's stuff. It's really easy. It says if you find an assignment, quiz, or exam in a sample course, what's the quickest way to get that in your course? What I would do, honestly, because I mean, let's be real for a minute. You're on a clock. Your semester is starting in what, 3-4 weeks? Okay, and you got to get going, right? You've got to get this up and running. What I would probably do is I would look at the pre-made courses. I would download one of these and then I would customize it to my needs. The cool thing about these is they've got pre-existing courses that go with pretty much a lot of different textbooks. And even, here's my course, yay. I'll tell you it's dense, take stuff out, please, it's too dense. I've got a much lighter one that I've made. You can find a course that matches your needs and then just add it to your account. And that will add the course and all the content. And then you just delete what you don't want and you add what you don't want. And it's really, really, really easy. So it's going to have you up and running. And in all of these courses, there are quizzes. You can look at those quizzes and you can say, hey, this is what I want to quiz on. Or sometimes when I look at other people's quizzes, I'm like, that is such a hard question. That is not how I would ask it. And then I edit those questions all the time. So that's all there for you. If you happen to know an instructor like me that's been teaching it or I've taught human bio with this software as well, we can share it with you. And then literally the link you get, once you click on it, it shares into your course. And one thing that you can do, I'm trying to remember how to do it. There's a way, I feel like you can copy a folder. And so there are even ways you can copy folders, and that's really cool, because then it makes the editing a little easier. All right, do we want to open this up to further Q&A?
Sure.
I know I've been coming at you guys with a lot of information, but I'm wondering if you have any more questions.
It's been super thorough, Cindy. You've just done a great job.
Done a wonderful job. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. And, you know, I can't say enough. This is one of those products that I'm very evangelical about, and it's because it makes it so easy and fun to teach. And if you're a new timer or a new person, I wouldn't look back. It's awesome. I use it for lecture and lab. I use it instead of a textbook. So it's really cool. And you can, I started using it for struggling students, and then I just kind of kept on going with it. Okay, just to clarify, if I download a template course with text and find an assignment in another sample course, Pam, is there a way to copy stuff from multiple sample courses to sort of, is there a way to do that yet?
So I didn't read the question yet. If I download a template course with a text and find an assignment, another sample course with that assignment. So you could copy a folder, yes, from one course and put it into that. When you hit copy folder on the screen, I believe it asks you like what course you want it to go into.
Oh, hey, check that out.
You could just like drag and drop them in there. And then if you need to edit and delete something out, you can do that. So absolutely, yes. So you can drag and drop and play very easily, very quickly.
And then there's questions about the recording. Yes, this will be available. And I'm sure this is something that you might need to go through again, because I know it's a lot and it's quick. They're even talking about like a little user support videos, and we're sort of talking about doing those too, which I would love. I like to help everybody. And there are webinars like this, I think weekly, right?
Yeah.
They've been a lot.
One a week.
All fun.
Some training webinars that we're going to have every day starting in the next week or so. We'll start those. So they'll cover things like creating quizzes and like setting up a course and those kind of things. So you can come and kind of focus on what you really want to focus on in that time with us.
Yeah. Oh, and one thing I didn't mention. So there's always the last question. You're not going to think about this until you need it. Is wait, how do I share the specific course I want with my students? Right? And that's really not hard. So this fall 2020 AP2, when we are done with this course, you can go to invite people and see this link here that brings anybody into this course. So what I do, if you go to my D2L page for my A&P course, I've got a little widget with my picture on it and my name and my Zoom ID or whatever it happens to be. And I managed to have them put in my visible body link too. And it just is really, really, really helpful. So this is all a bit of a mess right now. But I'll show you my little widget. And I didn't even know this was possible. And then someone told me about it. So here we go. So here I am. And, you know, me, my name, office number, email address, Zoom link, and then the courseware link. And that courseware link, any student that clicks on it, they go to my course, and then it puts them in the grade book. And they can do it too with their own email address. So I know some of my students don't like using the school email. That's fine. They usually go to like 5 different schools. They want to send everything to one address. I get it. It will do that for them. And I think that's pretty cool. You can force them to use their school address, but I don't like to. So there you go. All right. Whew. Well, I'm winded.
Thank you so much, and thank you for getting started. It was a little bit of a hiccup in the beginning as I lost power, so I really appreciate you getting started a few minutes late, Cindy. I apologize, and this was really, really great. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, and thank you for the attendees. It's going to be awesome. Best of luck with your teaching. I know that you're under a lot of pressure right now. This is going to take some of it off, trust me. So.
We had one question just pop up in the Q&A. Do students need a password? So when students create their access, they will create a username and password. If you happen to be a Canvas user, that's Canvas single sign-on kind of eliminates that for them. And that's something you could talk about with your rep if you are Canvas and want to learn more.
Yeah, otherwise they have that. And I will say students sometimes, you know, they forget their password, stuff happens. I have never once had an issue with visible body tech support not getting back to them. They always do very quickly. And so they'll come to me and they'll be like, I've got this problem. And I'm like, tech support. And because you're probably getting things in the bookstore right now, so that my students who are on aid can buy the software, I get little vouchers for the bookstore. And the students use those vouchers. So basically they'll buy it from the bookstore and it gives them a little code that they can sign in with. And of the problems we have, that's probably the more common one, is that there'll be something with the code, and I think it's more on our end than anyone else's, but it always gets resolved really quickly and they get on there pretty quick. So it's not a problem.
Well, any other last questions? Oh, I think actually somebody is, Agnes has her hand raised, so I'm gonna allow her to talk.
Okay.
Go ahead, Agnes. I don't know if I'm sorry if you had your hand
it's
raised
okay.
earlier.
I was just playing with things. But I can say thank you, both of you. It was most helpful, actually. So I learned a lot, and I'm more keen to start. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you. All right. Any last questions before we go? All right. Well, thank you so much, Cindy. Thanks for all of our attendees. Thank you, Pam, and have a wonderful afternoon. Do contact us if you have any other questions, and join our future webinars. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.